Good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of Inspiring Life Journeys. A brand new year, and I'm so excited to have one of a dear friend of mine and a wonderful entrepreneur, and I'm going to bring her on in a little bit. But before that, let's just go and have a little intro of who we are and what our show is all about. So just give me one quick minute, and here we go. Okay, so today we have Julie Kraschinsky. Julie, there you go. Julie, welcome. So
Thank you.
awesome to have you here today.
It's awesome to be here. Thanks for asking.
No, I'm so excited because I love that we're starting off the new year with you as our
Yeah.
guest. And yeah, I love your spiritual soul coach. We're going to talk all about that, but your whole thing is about being joyful, right?
Yes.
So I'm so excited that we're going to start off the new year with that. So, Julie, before we start off, I'm going to just let our listeners know a little bit about you. I know we're going to be talking a lot about this during our talk, but I just want to give them a little bio about who you are. So I'm just going to read it out just so that to make sure I don't miss anything and say it correctly. So, Julie, I'm going to butcher your name probably, but in case I do, I apologize.
Everybody does.
And you can correct me, okay?
Change it to Smith or Jones soon. Yeah.
So Julie Kraschinsky and CEO of Spirit Soul Coaching. She spent over 30 years developing techniques and tools that connect with her soul's path to pursue a heart-centered approach to coaching entrepreneurs through prosperous business journeys. Most of our clients are not new to the business world, but they are new to owning their own business and understanding what it means to be a CEO. After a long career as a leader in the direct sales industry, in 2021, Julie took a leap of faith, gave up her team and her free car, and retired from that business. She developed her Joyful CEO Life community, where she teaches the principles that uses to step into life and business you can truly love and ease and enjoy. And Julie, in addition to all that, you have so many more responsibilities. You are the proud executive director, managing director of our Calabasas chapter of eWomen, and you've been doing that beautifully for the past few years. And I'm proud to be part of that group. And you're also a grandma to your boyfriend's three grandchildren and your 3-year-old grandson. So we're going to hear a little bit about just a glimpse into what your life was growing up. What took you from growing up to where you are to the lessons that you've learned, and you can share that with everybody who's watching, whether they're an entrepreneur or not, because I think everybody needs to have a joyful life.
Exactly. And I had a great childhood. I was actually a midlife oops baby. So I had a different childhood than a lot of my girlfriends that are the same age as me. And my parents started their family really young. My mom was 18 and she had my brother. And then 5 years later, she had my other brother. And 5 years later, she had my sister. And then I came 12 and a half years after my sister. And same dad, same mom. And so my mom always said, there was always a reason for a midlife oops baby. And it took me a while to figure out what that was, Sometimes you think, was I a mistake? All those type of things. But no, I grew up, had a great family life and had tons of nieces and nephews. Because of the way I was born, my nieces and nephews are only a year or two younger than me. So it was a fun childhood. So I didn't have all the young brothers and sisters, but I had nieces and nephews. So that was fun. Yeah. And I'm still friends with my girlfriends from first grade and on. There's 11 of us that still stay in touch for all these years. And I can't complain about anything about that.
Oh, that's great. Now that you say that, the oops baby, I think I knew I was one too, because I'm the last of 6. And we were like, everybody else was 2 years apart, and then I was 5, and I never thought myself as an oops baby.
Yeah, that's what I used to be, a midlife oops baby.
Yeah.
Oops. She said they tried for many years and gave up. And I'm like, that's usually what happens, right? When you finally relax about it, then you're not trying to control how it's going to happen. So, yeah,
Yeah.
cool. I didn't know
Yeah.
we had common. So,
Right. Yeah. So you grew up in the East Coast, is that right? Is that where you were?
outside of Buffalo, New York,
Okay.
and lived there until, I worked when was in corporate America. I started stayed home with my kids after I quit my job and started my family. And then when about 20, what are we in 2024 now? 23 years ago, we moved from Buffalo, New York to California. And it was
Mm,
supposed to be a 2 to 3 year assignment for my husband at the time's job. And we got here and we thought, oh my gosh, we can live where we would normally vacation. It's so beautiful. Why don't we just find a way to stay? And so we did. That's what
right,
brought us
right.
here. Yeah.
You had a lovely, wonderful, long career in the direct sale industry,
Hmm.
um, and I'm sure that has, you know, every stage of life, whether it be in corporate America in your direct sales or even the business you're in now,
Yeah.
there are a lot of learning things that people, we pick up, which
Mhm.
shape us to who we are. And could you give us some tips of what your life was in the direct sales industry, and somebody who's even thinking of, either growing up in that or thinking about it, what are the things that really helped you, or some tips about that?
Yeah, I was speaking to a couple of people the other day, just saying how everything I learned. Now, I was in corporate America for like 12 years as well. I worked and had an amazing job, worked my way up the ladder, still have great contacts. Great friends that I made, stay in contact with them on LinkedIn and such. And so I had a lot of life's experiences through there, and I started to get some exposure, like to Zig Ziglar. That was like the first like motivational, person I heard about. And then when I joined Mary Kay, I had said no for 5 years because I didn't want to sell. I'm like, I'm not going to sell lipstick. I'm a corporate woman. And then when I stayed home to have my children, and after I had my second child, I was like, I have mommy mush brain. Like I used to have something in common with my husband, and now I, I feel like all I'm doing is talking about changing diapers all day and talking baby talk. And so I embarked in it, even though I said no for 5 years. I really didn't know what I was saying no to. And I decided, all right, I'm going to give this a try. And I'm still actually in the business, so it's been 28 years. But I ended up just really having fun. Like for me, it was all about having that joy and not making it seem like it was difficult and hard. And so, I mean, I learned to overcome a lot of obstacles. We had no cell phones, no internet. I'm dating myself. We had a corded phone, you know,
Mhm.
shoebox with my customer information in there. And we had to leave messages on people's answering machines, and they could hear you when you're leaving a message. So it was a different dynamic for building a business back then. But sometimes you just don't know any better. So you just do, you just keep doing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I did. And I had lots of obstacles where people, were like, "Oh, you're doing that." And, "Oh, blah, blah, blah." So I learned to overcome a lot of obstacles and to not do it in a salesy, pushy way. And that's how you just really attract your ideal clients, your ideal team members, and be that person that people are attracted to instead of being
Mhm.
repelled from.
Right, right. And you've won a lot of awards on that, right? In
And
there.
well, you won awards, yeah, but we earned cars. And my very first car, I still have a picture of myself over there. In my first candy apple red Grand Am car, I earned it as a beauty consultant. I wasn't a director. And I just started, I had a small team of like, I think 5 people. And when you had that many, you can go for a car. And I remember my husband at the time said, "We need a new car. So I know you're just playing with this little thing. Can you do something serious with it?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, I'll show him. Yes, I can." And
Uh-huh.
I did. I set out. And, I look back now, and when I teach about having the mindset and visualizing your goals and your dreams, And I can still to this day, it was so powerful. My one girlfriend said, just picture yourself in that red car going past windows. And do you remember we used to drive up to the bank and make a deposit, or they actually had that chute and you would shoot your money in and they would deposit and shoot you the receipt back. And I would pull up to that window, and it was so vivid that I can still pull up that memory today. And I would look at myself in that window in my minivan, which I was driving at the time, picturing myself in that new car. And I did in 4 months, because that was a qualification period. We earned our very first car, and that was 1998. And we went on to earning new cars every 2 years. You get to requalify for a new car. So it was kind of like once you figured it out, you got it. And it was like muscle memory, Some years were easier than others, I will tell you. But yeah.
That's a big accomplishment to do it in such a short time frame and to do it every 2 years. So, even though you have nailed on the process, it's still a lot of
different. It evolved. It involved me growing as a person and growing in my leadership skills and my people skills, and learned so much. And I use everything that I learned in my Mary Kay journey today. Mary Kay was timeless, and she was the very first more heart-centered company, where she put God first. She put her faith first, her family second, and career third. And she always said, if you had that in order, then everything else would fall into place. And that's how we just ran our businesses.
So true. Yeah. Do you have any interesting stories or things that you can think
I got
of?
lots of stories. Nothing really. Yeah, just so many stories. I mean, so many times you wanted to quit. You had a lot of disappointments. There's a lot of highs. There were some lows. People disappoint you, right? People are going to come in and they're the last person before you earn the big thing, and they go, they disappear. Everybody had to really overcome and not take things personally. That's hard. And a lot of people couldn't handle that. And that's why people don't last in the direct sales industry, because they make it all about, it must be me. I must not be a good leader. We have like so many stories. My girlfriends, we got to travel every year. When I became a director, my son was going into kindergarten, and I thought that'd be a good time to promote myself into a directorship position. And so I did that. That story by itself was memorable, because it was in December of 1999. I remember, because I became a director in 2000. And we had a snowstorm, and my husband and my daughter both got walking pneumonia.
Oh my.
We traveled between the week of Christmas to New Year's to Ohio, where my in-laws were, in the snow. And it was just, we ended up in a snowbank. We had like all these obstacles. And I got back, and I remember everyone was like, oh my gosh, what if you come this close and don't do it? And I'm like, it's not an option. It's going to happen. And people would just, my clients, my customers would call me and go, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. What do we need to do to help you? Or let me know when push comes to shove. I go, push doesn't shove right now. How would you like to join my team and get your product at a discount? So it was one of those things that you don't forget, and it was a big milestone for me. And then we earned our pink Cadillac. That was another one. That was a big thing. And you know what, I will tell you, when you're going for some of these big goals and accolades and all that, it's not about the thing that you acquire. It's who you become along the way, and whose lives you touch, right? And when we were earning it, I didn't even know we were earning it. The company called me and said, you're earning your pink Cadillac. And I'm like, oh, I am? Oh. And when I didn't know I was earning it, it was easy. As soon as I knew, then all of a sudden your mind kicks in and you're trying to take over, right? Like, what should I do? I should be doing more of this and more of that. And that kind of like set the stepping stone for my Joyful CEO Life program, because all these things that I went through, I looked at them as like, how could I have made it easier and had more ease and flow when I look back? And the times when I did have more ease and flow and joy in what I was doing is when it was easy. So I used some of those things, and I keep, and it just kept, it morphed into something that I believe that could help other women outside of Mary Kay.
That's true. Yeah. And it's listening to you, I think it's all about perseverance too, right? Not having
Hmm.
to, I like the way that you said, you knew that that was an option, wasn't an option to just let it slip by.
Yeah.
You were determined. And I see that even now in your in your even in your business. I see that you're so consistent in doing that. So I know you. I'm going to just quickly touch because that's another part of your life that you have right now. You became the executive managing director in a pretty short time of a big chapter that was when you took over was just growing up to where we wanted it to be, but not quite there. So, what was
Yeah.
your experiences like that, and in that, and what lessons have you learned that have helped you in
Oh
your
yeah.
new business right now?
Yeah, so life is interesting, and you just look at where your path is and where it directs you, and you really don't know. And I was just telling on my coaching call yesterday was, all we really know what to do is that first step, right? We don't have to know. We've heard this before. You don't just see the whole stairwell, right? You just have to
Hmm.
know the first step, and then the rest of the steps will be revealed to you if you're listening. If you listen to your inner guidance. And when the managing director came to me and said, "Wow, you've been bringing in a lot of people. I'm looking to step away because my business is now booming, my her own individual business, and I would love for you to take it over." And I listened to my gut, and I always do that, and I'm like, what does that feel like? Before I said yes or no, and I didn't feel wrong, so I said, all right, well, let me get more of the information. It feels good. I'm not going to say yes right now. And I
Hmm.
did get the information, and I sat down and talked to my business partner, my boyfriend, and he's like, "Yeah, I think you'd be really good at this. I think this would be great." And at the time, I was kind of in a crossroads of, do I continue in my direct sales journey, or am I being called to do something else? And so it was perfect timing for me to say yes. And it's 5 years this month that I took over that
Yeah.
chapter. I thought it'd be
Hmm.
like for a year or two, right? And then so that was 2019. We grew, it was great. We already had an amazing chapter. We just grew it. And then 2020 hit, and we all had to pivot, right, and go online.
Yeah.
Um, what that did for me was, I know people all over the country, and I was able to connect with people that always wanted to be a part of our community, but they're like, "Oh, I can't, we don't have a chapter, or you're not, I love to come to your meetings, but I live in New York, or I live in
Mhm.
New Jersey or whatever." And so this was a time we were able to really build the e-women community, because we went online. And so that did help us become an executive chapter, and adding 100 people. Um, and we just hit, in December, our milestone was our 200th person came in
Yeah.
Mexico.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Yeah.
That was a big accomplishment, hitting that 200. Yeah, and you were determined to do that before the year ended. So, and you made it. So,
You
yeah.
know what? It was the cool thing though, is because I'm practicing what I teach, is I had that as a goal, but I held on to it very loosely. And it's like, I didn't make it happen. I didn't work my butt off to make it happen. I didn't make phone calls endlessly. I just followed my gut and like, hey, I was talking to this person and that person. Maybe they would love to come in and be, 199 and 200. And they're like,
Hmm.
thanks for pushing me. Yeah, I'm ready to go now. It's just like, why not? So it's just, there was a way to do it with ease and flow. And
Yeah.
that's really passionate about, is teaching people the tools that I use to do that. So
Hmm.
business doesn't have to be hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like that one thing that you mentioned about is really listening to your gut. And then I was in a conference this weekend and we talked about is listening to your whisper, right?
Yes, the
Because
whisper is
sometimes
always,
the whisper comes to us in different
hey,
ways and we don't listen to it.
does, so we don't listen. I've said that. Like, I know we say women have intuition, but we're all born with it. It's our
Right.
inner system. I like to call it, when I call my GPS, I call it my genius power system. So
Oh,
it's a
that's
genius. It
great.
knows, it knows what you should do. And when you don't listen to it, you always pay the price. Right?
Right, right, right. So let's transition now to your current business that you have, your Spirited Soul coaching business.
Yes.
How did that come about? And when was when was the point in your life that you knew that you were meant to do something more than just in the things that you've been doing?
Yeah, that was what it started in 2019, probably a little bit before that, but 2019 was when I was identifying, what did I want to do? Like, what was it? When I took over the eWomen, what happens is you're dealing with a whole new world of entrepreneurs. Everybody is an entrepreneur, right? A solopreneur, most of them. And I started seeing, and I had been networking for years. And so I developed some really good networking strategies and just tools that I used, right? And so I started seeing how these people needed help with networking, and how to do it effectively. So it really increased your net worth, and it wasn't like work, So that's when I started thinking, like, maybe I should start coaching these people. So I was coaching members that came in complimentary, to go with our chapter, and I still do. I still do offer a 30-minute complimentary session with each one on top of what we do educationally anyways. But I started thinking, like, oh, is this what I should be doing? And I started thinking about, and I will tell you the most important thing you can do is work with a mentor or coach, because at that time I met my mentor and coach who was in my chapter. And I started going to some of her workshops. I went to a couple of her free stuff. I went to paid. And then eventually I'm like, I'm making this investment. And it was scary because it was the largest investment I ever made in myself. But I've been with her for 4.5 years because it was like, I, just it helped me really strengthen my faith. And not just in myself, but in, my faith in God and my faith in how the universe really works, and how it is there to support you and not hinder you. And I really feel having a mentor and a coach who's done it before you and is still doing the work alongside you is so instrumental for your growth. And that's where I felt like, wow, this is really what needs to be out there. And with my flair, because we're all different. I heard somebody recently say, you coaches are all the same. I can't tell the difference between any of you. And I'm like, wow, that's like saying every dentist is the same. Every, star person is the same. It's just whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own unique gifts, and you might be teaching the same principles, but you're going to always put your life's experiences in there, which are all unique.
Yeah. So now you have some programs that you are, you started even the 1-day workshop that you had. Unfortunately, I wasn't here to attend that.
Ooh, that was a beach retreat.
Yeah, that was amazing. So tell us a little bit about what, if somebody's interested in, I know they can go and learn more about it, but if you want to give them just a few things of what your program is like and how you could serve them.
I started it off very organically. I was like, well, do you use this? Do you do this? And I'm like, you know what? I'm just really going with my gut instinct and what was being fed through me. And I was like, today, like even a lesson will come to me that day. And so I hang on loosely to how I'm going to present in my group coaching. I do have a plan, obviously, and I have, a formula that I use, but everybody's unique. And so people like more customized accountability and coaching. So I have a group coaching that I do that comes with a weekly group lesson that we do. We come together, and then they have a check-in that they can do weekly with me, accountability and other access to me. And in October, just out of the blue, so I love saying that, this voice said to me, hold a beach retreat. And I'm like, a beach retreat? I've never even held a retreat. I don't even know how to do a retreat, blah, 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 blah. And I just started listening to, okay, what's next? What's next? And I was guided to I put a post out on Facebook, filled it up like that week, 12 women, boom. And I was like, I had a waiting list, and I have a list of a mile long. And it just was the most surreal, beautiful day. Everything unfolded, gorgeous place we found on the beach. And it even ended with the most spectacular sunsets. I mean, we took so many pictures. I couldn't even had planned it the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
And that was because I listened to my divine guidance, my genius power system. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so that's just an extra bonus. I'm planning 2 beach retreats where
That's
it's in
awesome.
the works right now. One in May. It's going to be an overnight because that's what I requested. It was only a one day, and they're all like, "We got to do this overnight." So I have a feeling that's going to fill up really quick before I even announce it. So I don't know
I'm
if you want to
sure.
get on a waiting list. Let me know.
I'm sure it will. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, in addition to that, you also have something that people can get on to get some daily inspirations from you, right?
Well, yes, I have actually. I do a weekly newsletter. It's called a newsletter, but I call it the Weekly Dose of Joy.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the link I gave you, I think, earlier. And
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and change that over.
so what I decided was everybody starts their Mondays, and I used to have like angst about Monday, even um, in my current positions and stuff, because there's meetings that you have to attend, and there's other things that people put on your schedule that maybe fills your schedule before you get to fill it with things that you would love to do. And sometimes Mondays are Mondays. And so I decided like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I gotta like jolt myself out of here. And so I created something called Julie's Joyful Jolt. And it was to joyfully overcome your limited thinking. And I put it in a newsletter format. And it gets delivered to your mailbox on Mondays at 6:30 Pacific time in the morning. Real
Mm-hmm.
short read, and you can go back. And then it's also a part of my blog on my website. So you can go back and read the older ones and find one. I have people, emailing me all the time. Oh my gosh, how did you know I needed to hear
Yeah.
that? And they print them off and show me on a Zoom. I have this printed. So I really enjoy them. I don't have a big email blast thing that I do. I just right now just sending that one email once a week. So you're not going to get inundated with offers and everything else. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, for our listeners, Julie, would you like to just give them a couple of little insights that you share? You don't have to go too deep into it, but just something about your coaching that will help them maybe in this coming weeks.
yeah. So interesting. I did a market research, and I interviewed, I think, like 12 women entrepreneurs looking for what the main thing that people feel is holding them back from being successful or having the life that they love. And, it was very apparent. Many of them said at the beginning it was one thing. And then by the time we got done at the end, we really kind of found out that it was something completely different than what they thought holding them back. Because on the surface, it's easy to say, "Oh, I need, social media help," or "I need um, a better leadership team," or whatever it is that you might be saying. And so we just try to identify one of those limiting beliefs and then really focus on the opposite. And how can we focus on what you truly want? Like, do you really want that to come true in your life? Because if you keep focusing on it, you will get it, right? So I just help them identify first. The most important thing is really to be true to yourself and be honest. What are you really saying to yourself? What are you really feeling about what you're saying to yourself is even more important than what you're saying. And then we get and come up with a more positive, joyful way to look at it. And we're just always sprinkling joy. My calls are not called discovery calls, they're called joy breaks. You can schedule a joy break with me on my website. They're 30 minutes, and you're going to find something that we can insert some joy into your life. And even when things are going not the way you like them, there's always something you can find gratitude and joy for. And that's what we do, really kind of focus on that. When everybody else is focusing on everything we should be doing, and I got to be doing this and I have to be doing that, we focus on, instead of, shooting yourself to death, I should do this and I should do that. It's, would I enjoy doing that? Find something that you find joy in doing, and then take action once you feel good about it.
Mm, Yeah, that's great. That's great. Now, I know you have your main audience or your clients are solopreneurs, but with all your background that you have, do you have people from maybe the direct sale industry reach out to you for because you've got so much of experience there?
Yeah, and initially I was going to go, really niche down into direct sales and network marketing. But what I find is, like, I don't want to teach people how to run a direct sales or network marketing business. I did that for 25 plus years when I was a director. I want to teach those people who are willing to invest in themselves and their personal development, how to think differently about their business, differently about how to team build and how to team build with ease. And it's not about doing all the things and asking 1,000 people and constantly talking about your business. Those are not the things that build your business. So yeah, I
Mhm.
do have people in the direct sales, network marketing, direct sales marketing um, industry reach out to me. And I'm not opposed to doing that. I just am not focusing on just that area.
Yeah, yeah. I think in any one of us, whether they are in the direct sales industry or anything, a lot of it is just coming from within you, right? How joyful are you? How are you looking at things? Your approach,
Right.
and
Yeah.
all that is what you cover
Hmm.
in your coaching. So that is great.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we have Julie's information down there. Do sign up for her newsletter and get the joyful jolt that you need every morning. So I'm going to leave that up there till we wrap up our call. Just going to
And
go
it's
to a
just
little
once a week.
fun.
So yeah,
Yeah, I
I
know.
you can read it every day for that week. So you focus on that for the whole week. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Going to go to a little fun things. What are the fun things that you like? I know you have your grandchildren and your glammy that you
My
have.
glammy. I'm glammy. I'm
Yeah,
glammy, glamour.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so I go to Pilates several times during the week, and so I've built like friends there. So we go out once a month together to usually celebrate somebody's birthday.
Oh, that's
Um,
fun.
yeah, and I mean, I have just so many different groups of people, and just spending time with people, and that's my main thing. My boyfriend
Yeah.
Michael and I, he is retired, so he's home here too. So we're together a lot. So
Mhm.
sometimes it's nice to get out separately, you know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I honestly I walk just about every day. I have to admit I only walked for a few minutes yesterday because it was really cold out.
It
um,
is.
but one of my favorite things is to really just walk. We have such beautiful parks and green belts here, and I just love to be in nature. And that's where
Mhm.
I get a lot of my inspiration while I'm
Yeah.
walking, And I even I use the Voxer app. And so I deliver inspirational broadcasts like 2 to 3 times a week to my clients
Mhm.
exclusively. And I do that a lot when I'm on my walk because that's where my inspiration is coming from.
Well, that's awesome. That's great. That's great. You
Yeah,
know, with me being in the travel industry, I have to weave in a little bit of travel in the calls.
right? Of
So,
course.
yeah, what are the places or some of the places that you've been? You can just give me a couple that you've been that have really, been one of your most favorite places that you would go in a heartbeat over there again.
Yeah. I used to travel a lot. When I lived in Buffalo, we went to Florida every single year, snowbirds, just to get out of the snow. I've been to, Hawaii a couple times. And I would tell you over the last, I don't know how many years I've been with Michael, 12, whatever. We do a lot of long weekend getaways. I
Mm-hmm.
like those better.
Yep.
Not better. Well, yeah, I have not been up until now the best long term, like long week vacationer because I have so much going on. I feel like I just want to get back. And up until a year and a half ago, I had a dog and cats, and it's hard to be away from them, especially when they're elderly, And so we
Yeah.
haven't done a lot of like long term travels. So we do a lot of like go to Pismo Beach and go up north and go down south and just visit all around. That's part of my list this year where I wanted to do is just travel up and down the coast of California and explore places that we haven't been.
Yeah, yeah. No, those long weekends are great. It's great to get away and to
Yes,
recharge and refresh. I know, yeah, you've been to Palm Springs quite a bit.
yes, we do.
Those are beautiful places, but it's always good, even just for a long weekend of 3 or 4 days, to go and travel and get
Yeah.
refreshed.
I'm just praying that Michael's nephew is getting married in Italy, and it was on my list. And I contacted Shanta to get the ball rolling. And now we're dealing with some back issues
Oh
for Michael.
no, yeah, I know you
Where
told
I'm
me.
just going to believe that it's going to be all better, and we're going to get that trip on the books because that's been something that I've been wanting to go to Italy. My mom was born in Sicily, and I'm
Mhm.
Italian, Sicilian, so that is a must to get there.
Yeah, that was my next question. Which is one place that you'd really like to go? And I think I know your answer was the
Yes.
Italy and Tuscany area.
And I just
So,
know when we go, it won't be my last time, you know?
oh yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. And I know people like there's a lady at my Pilates, she's like, her and her husband goes twice a year to Italy. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome. But I don't know. I sometimes look at people and I love that, wow, they're traveling. And, sometimes you go, wow, it must be nice to just go for weeks on end. But I'm like, I don't even know if I could do that. I mean, I guess I'd have to ease my way into it.
Right,
10
right,
years from
right.
now, I can do
Yeah.
that. But I mean, your life is amazing. I love who wouldn't want a career like Shanta's? It's just like get paid to go check
Yeah.
places out. And, you know,
Yeah, but you know what? Everyone's got priorities and things that come up,
sure.
so we just have to weave around it. So
Yeah.
whenever the right time comes, your wish will come true,
Yeah. I mean,
right?
that's a
It
perfect,
will
if you
happen.
want to give like a networking tip too, people think like I've known Shanta for years, right? And I've referred her, I've told people about her, but I've never
Mhm.
had the opportunity to use her services. But when the time is right,
Mhm.
because you get to know them, like them, and trust them, that who you're going to go to. You're not going to go to some random stranger or somebody else that refers you, right? So
Right,
that's something that you really want to keep in mind. That networking is a long haul game. It's not instant. Let me get a sale when I go to the event.
right, right. And I think that's a misconception that a lot of people get, and that's why
Yes,
they don't stick with it.
yes.
Yeah, so that's
So
great.
yeah.
Yeah. Julie, we're going to wrap up. Do you have any few words to give to our audience before we wrap things up?
Well, I
Um,
can talk. I have to stop myself sometimes because I'm
no, that's okay. We
very,
have time.
I'm always very passionate about what I do, and just really for all those, especially at the beginning of the year, it's a time to really refresh, re-energize, and reset not just your goals, but really your vision for your life. And plan more of those trips, even if they are little getaways, little weekend getaways,
Mhm.
and just do more of what you love. And I was listening to a sermon online on Sunday, and the pastor said, when you think about 2024, everybody's saying, I want more in 24, and this is the year to soar in 24, and I'm going to strengthen my core in 24. You're saying all these things, right? And he said, just look at the number 24, and what does that signify? That's 24 hours in your day. What are you going to
Mm,
do today? And that really hit me, and looking at what am I doing today, and only saying yes to the things that, um, make you feel good, that bring you joy, or also that can also impact other people. And I mean, honestly, that's why I said yes to Shanta. I mean, I love Shanta anyways. I wouldn't say no to her, but it just worked out perfectly for me to say yes to do this. And anytime that we can come together, we're more powerful and we can help more people.
right. Thank you, Julie. Thank you. Yeah, that's a great thought to end with here, because everybody's got, it's constant, right? Everybody's just got 24 hours in the day, and how you work with it. And I love that, what you do with what you said is what you do with this. It really matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. I loved
Oh,
being on
thank
your
you so
show.
much. And
I've been
everybody,
watching yours.
I'm sorry.
I said, I've been watching you do these, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if I'll be on Shanta's show
Oh,
one
of
day.
course. I was waiting for the right moment to bring you on. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we have Julie's contact information there for her newsletter. I'll also go ahead and put it in the comments in the chat when we get off. So
Yeah.
connect with Julie, get to know her. She's wonderful, personally, business wise, as well as in her personal life. the more
Thank
you
you.
get to know her, the more you love her. So
Thank you.
do connect with her, and thanks a ton, Julie. And we're going to just end this, wrap it up with our little. But before I do, I do want to say something that, what I'd like you all to do is really share the show with everyone so that they can get to know Julie and get the more we spread word around about her life and her business, that the more joyful they're going to be in getting all her
Thank you.
information that we do have for you. So bye for now. And we're going to wrap this up with just a little outro. And here we go.